What is up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to the 28th episode of GVGCast. As you can see, the gang is back together. I'm joined, as always, by my good friends and GVG co-founders, Derek Bittner, and returning to us this week, Ash Paulson.
Yes.
Before we get into the who's who, I'm just going to do the sponsor bit because I feel like we have a lot of little life things to talk about now that Ash is back with us. So
fair enough.
if you're new here, this episode, like every other episode before it, is sponsored by The Game Orb. The Game Orb is a YouTube channel that brings commentary and gameplay footage from the Nintendo Switch and Xbox Series X gaming systems. While games like Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu can be seen on the channel along with others, The Game Orb will also now be adding Splatoon 3, Super Mario Sunshine, and Fall Guys to the gaming collection, so be sure to subscribe to The Game Orb at the link in the description. And if you're here live with us, it's also going to be pinned in the YouTube chat. I can see Ash working on it right now.
Yep.
He hasn't skipped a beat.
That is a look of focus.
That's right. You can tell my man is pasting a message in chat. Anyway, I wanted to get the sponsorship out of the way. Thank you so much, Eddie. We appreciate your support each and every week here on GVGcast. As you know, I'll read super chats out in a little bit, but we've got it's been a minute. So I wanted to check in. Derek and I got to talk about what we were up to last week, but Ash, you were not with us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've been up to?
Well, so as you all know, last week I did have to go to a funeral for a family friend, which is it's not someone I was personally close to, but basically the son of our close family friend passed away in a car accident, sadly, and we wanted to go be there to support her, and so that's what I was doing. Last week during GVGcast time, so I'm sorry I couldn't be here, but we did want to go ahead and support our friend.
That had to be brutal.
Yeah, it was rough. It was we watched the in memoriam video, and it was just really that, even though I didn't know him that well personally, it just really got me, and it's always, of course, sad, and we love her, and it was just hard seeing her so sad, and so
sure.
We wanted to do everything we could to be there to support her. But then actually I just got back yesterday. Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. It's been
time is an illusion.
It's been a blur. So I actually just got back from the UK for my bud Aaron Cooper's former TNT guest wedding. So If you've been watching TNT since the very beginning, we've had Aaron Cooper on, I think, a couple of times, and he is one of my very, very, very best friends, and he bestowed upon me the honor of being his best man. And so if y'all remember, recently I took a trip to the UK and Dublin for his bachelor party, aka stag do, over in the UK. And this past Monday was his actual wedding. So I was there doing the whole best man thing, delivered a speech he thankfully ended up really loving. I was, of course, pretty nervous because, having to deliver the best man speech is a lot of pressure. But I was able to do it, and apparently I did it pretty well. He was very happy with it. And we just made sure he had an awesome day, period. And he is so happy. His wife's name is Shannon, and they are just each other's people. They are so happy. I couldn't be happier for them. They're leaving pretty soon for their honeymoon in Thailand. So basically, if you're watching this, Aaron, I love you, man. And happy wedding again. I love you so much. And thank you again for giving me the honor of being your best man. And I'm now
watch
home.
out for Sagat.
I know. Yeah. Exactly.
I will always have the Thailand.
Oh, Thailand. Tiger, uppercut. Yeah. No, but seriously, I had an amazing time. And unfortunately, I may have brought something back from the UK. I hope not. The reason I'm not hosting today, I was going to step back into the host seat today, but I feel like crap. So if I don't look like I feel well, it's because I don't feel well. And so I asked Steve, I was like, do you mind hosting again? Because I don't feel great, and it's either I'm hoping it's just a lot of jet lag. I took Thursday off from my day job just to recover, but I'm actually
20 hours of flying, right?
Yeah, so it was a 20-hour travel day. I had to go from the UK to Copenhagen to Chicago to LA. So 3 flights, 2 layovers over 20 hours. And so I'm hoping
that was a lot of time to play Xenoblade on your Switch.
See, I was gonna, but then I'm at Kevis Castle, and people keep telling me the stuff that's about to happen is like earth-shatteringly amazing, and I don't want to play on the small screen on a loud ass flight with my headphones. I can barely hear anything.
Fair enough.
That's not the best way to play a game like that, So I just played some Cowabunga Collection instead and some other stuff. But so I'm hoping I'm just severely jet lagged, but I'm actually feeling worse today than I was yesterday. So I'm like, a little worried maybe I caught something. I hope not. But I will say, as a quick anecdote, I sat next, and I tweeted about this. I sat next to the grossest woman on my second flight.
No.
Of course, it was the longest one too. So this is a 9-hour flight, right? So I get my seat. She's already there. I get my seat, and then we just say our hellos, whatever. Everything's fine. And then about 5 minutes in, we haven't even taken off yet. About 5 minutes, she sneezes into her hand, right into her hand, and it's like really it's one of those gooey, nasty, snotty sneezes, right? So she sneezes into her hand, but then she didn't have anything to she had no napkin or anything, so she just didn't wipe it on anything, and she picked her phone right back up and just kept scrolling. And I'm like, well, that's really gross. But then it gets worse or better, depending on how you look at it. So about 5 minutes later, she puts down her phone and she just runs her hand through her hair. And I'm just like, I was trying not to stare, but I was so horrified. I'm like, you are gross. I didn't say that, of course, but I'm like, who does that? So her hair is just snotty hair. I don't even know. So I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be the longest 9-hour flight of my life, because I hope she doesn't tap me in the shoulder for any reason. I'm like, please let her not touch me. Thankfully she didn't, but it was so gross. And it was a pretty full flight. So I felt like if I requested a new seat, there was a good chance I was going to get a middle seat. And the one thing was I had an aisle seat at least, so I didn't want to have to move from an aisle to a middle seat. So I didn't request a new seat. Maybe I should have, but yeah, I don't know. But I was double masked the whole time. I've never been so thankful to be double masked, and I stayed double masked the whole flight. So
I always try to get a window seat so I can lean away from whoever I'm sitting next to.
I used to like window seats, and I still don't mind them, but I've actually started really enjoying aisle seats, if only because I can get up and go to the bathroom easily.
That's fair.
That's how I feel
people
about it.
I've been crawling over in order to go to the bathroom. I just I find myself just holding it.
Yeah,
yep,
I kind of
definitely
like to
do
be able
that.
to get up easily. That's kind of, I feel the same way.
I'm worried because I'm planning a trip to Japan next year, and I'm like, I need to be strategic about where I sit on that plane, because there's no way I'm going to be able to hold it for like 12 hours. I need to make sure I'm able to get in and out. I was looking. Did you know that
those flights tend to be pretty big, though?
A first class ticket to Japan is like $20,000 right now.
Ridiculous.
I looked it up because I was thinking if
high?
I was like, the one time I'd want to be first class is when I'm traveling for like an insane amount of time. I was like, get the coziest seat, $20,000 though.
Yeah.
God damn. Like,
that's
it is
ridiculous.
And this is for like, I was booking all the way out to like October of 2023 because I was hoping to get like the cheapest possible flight.
Yeah, I mean, flight prices in general, man. I mean, like my flight to the UK was $1,200. That would never have been the case before, the pandemic and everything. And like, even you guys know, I went to see my my sister-in-law's graduation in New Orleans several months ago. That flight was like $900, and it's domestic. And I bought it like a month and a half out.
Yep,
it's so
wild.
Ridiculous what flight prices are like these days. And by the way, I do want to address what both Joe N and Jamie ICT said in our YouTube chat. UK and Dublin. I definitely was not suggesting that Ireland is part of the UK. I am very well aware they are separate. I went to the UK and Dublin for the stag do.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, just to be clear, I didn't buy that damn ticket. I've backed out really fast.
If you have $20,000, I'm getting a loan from you, dude.
Yeah, I was about to say I might need to buy like I don't know. I don't even have $20,000 worth of assets. I don't think. But anyway, so Derek, obviously you didn't go globetrotting this last week since the last episode of GVGCast. But what have you been up to? What have you been playing?
Not too much. I've slowly been working on Xeno. I'm still in chapter 3, so very much before where Ash is, and just trying to enjoy play what I can. I have started on my own personal streaming channel. I've playing Shin Megami Tensei 4,
Ooh.
and it's very interesting returning to that, because when I first played it years ago, when it first came out, it was kind of my first SMT game after experiencing Persona, I think it was 4. I was like, oh, I've heard good things about this. I'll check it out. And I bought it, played it, and died in the tutorial. I'm like, well, I'm done. Mm-hmm. And I go back to it for this, and I just that little bit of extra experience that I've gotten from the other games in the series at this point, I mean, I died once because of stupid stuff, but actually I didn't game over. I had characters die, but I didn't lose any battles. I'm like, oh, cool. This is what experience gets you, and having know what to do is like, I always had this idea in my head. This game was so super hard, but apparently, at least so far, it's not that bad. Not as bad as I remember.
Oh, go ahead.
I was scoffing when I was doing the research for the retrospective when the developers were saying, we tried to make this game easier for newcomers, and I'm like, you failed.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say that's what encouraged me to pick it up. I had a friend at the time who was like, "Oh, are you into hard video games?" And I was like, kind of. And they suggested SMT4, so I got it at launch, and I was like, and I read the same thing that they tried to make it easier, and I was like, if this is easy, what the hell were the previous games like?
Right?
It must have been unplayable. But yeah, it's I think SMT4 is an excellent game.
I've heard that. I heard it has the best story of any of the SMT games.
That's what I've always understood.
Because the others are more character and like philosophy based.
I did I did the art book for Udon back when I worked at Udon as their senior editor. I did the Shin Megami Tensei 4 art book, so of course I got the story through that, and it's a really good story. I didn't play the game, but I got the story through the art book, and I really I'm
just going through naturally. I'm not going to try to shoot for any kind of ending. I'm just going to pick my choices and see where I end up. Not really worry about it. Although, as doing the art book, can you find out why they decided to take away Angel's pants? Because every other artwork before this point, she kind of had pants, and they seem to have disappeared. So I'm kind of curious why they took them away.
So, go ahead.
One thing I was going to mention. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've been doing the thing again. I've been laughing. I have healed enough from my accident that I can laugh again. So it's still a little painful if I like sneeze or something, or if I hiccup, but I'm at least back to the point now where I can laugh again. So I can be on the post show again.
Yeah,
all the things Ash took for granted. Sitting,
I know,
laughing.
right? Yeah.
And if we're talking injuries, I no longer need a Band-Aid on my finger.
Nice.
So there's the post damage of me cutting it on the mandolin. You can see a few layers of skin on there, but it's healing back up and still a little tender, but I don't have to worry too much about it. So
it is a weird situation where I'm the only one that isn't injured. I feel like you guys stole my bad karma.
Seriously.
As for me, and I noticed that I have not been ignoring the YouTube chat. I've seen a few questions about Street Fighter 6. I played the beta pretty much all weekend. Nice. I hopped into. I probably played maybe 100 or 200 matches. Like I played it a lot. And I am pleased to report that Street Fighter 6 is really damn good. In fact, I captured probably a few hours of footage. And I do plan on making a video around my experience with the beta. There's some good and some bad. But mechanically speaking, I think it's one of the stronger entries in the franchise. I think that Capcom is really on the right track with this. I'm not going to go deep into it, but I've spent a lot of time with that. More recently, I've been playing God of War 2018 because Ragnarok is around the corner. So I really want to get a refresher on God of War.
I need to beat that.
Yeah. It's a really good game, but I'm kind of looking at it more critically this time around, trying to kind of poke holes in it. Just because, I mean, how do you back in 2018, everybody said it was like a perfect game. And by 2018 standards, it very well may have been. But 4 years have passed since then, and there's a lot of stuff you can see, like obvious things like masking load times and stuff. And I wonder if Ragnarok will lean on some of the, typical Sony load time hiding techniques like boosting characters over walls and sliding through cracks and fissures.
I wonder if it was exclusive to the PS5, I'd say no, but with it also being on the PS4, I'm curious to just keep it but make it faster.
Exactly. That's what I'm curious about.
It's weird. Like, I love what I've seen of the trailers of Ragnarok, and I definitely have interest in playing it, but I have tried and failed to play 2018 like 3 or 4 times now, and every time I start it, I get a few hours in and I just lose interest, even though I know it's a great game. There's just something about it that isn't quite grabbing me, and I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's me. It's not the game. I'm sure it's me. But I don't know. I can't stick with it, and I've tried multiple times now. And I've been playing it on PS5 as well, the most recent time. So playing it at 60 FPS, and it's still... I can tell it's a great game, but it just isn't sticking with me. I don't know.
Sometimes it just happens with certain games.
Yeah. But Steve, I could not agree with you more about Street Fighter 6, man. I didn't get to play the whole weekend because, of course, I left that Saturday for the UK. But I got to play on Friday, and dude, I was already excited about this game. I'm even more excited about it now. Oh my God, I can't wait for this game. It's so good.
It is incredible. I think Kimberly lives up to the hype. She's a really really complex, really technical character. I like Ryu a lot more after having seen him in motion. Like, his design clicked for me after playing as him in the beta, which, no surprise, he was my main through the whole thing. I think all the characters, turned out really good. I didn't fully grasp them technically. There's even one mechanic that I couldn't quite figure out because the tutorials didn't explain everything. Like, there's a weird dash mechanic you could do. But anyway, I will break that down in a video probably next week on the channel. I have like hours of footage to comb through so I'll give you guys my thoughts on that. I don't want to take up more of the show than I already have with it. But yeah, God of War, Street Fighter 6. I've lived on my PlayStation essentially. Maybe I'll dust off the Switch at some point and play something on it. Nice. Certainly before next May. Anyway. Oh, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, I can't, when I'm not playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I'm thinking about playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Yeah. And I'm in the middle of chapter 4, maybe toward the end of chapter 4. I don't know. But I just want to, it's funny. I want to talk about it, but I can't. I'm obviously not going to spoil anybody here. But John, Brandon, and Daniel just recorded a spoiler discussion about Xenoblade 3 this morning. And I almost made the mistake of clicking on the live audience
you and your
chat
spoilers,
to see how it was going. And then I remembered at the last second, like, oh, wait, I can't check on how it's going because there are going to be spoilers everywhere. I'm so glad I stopped myself. But as I said, I am at Kevis Castle, and I have been told by multiple people, including our very own patron and good friend Adam O'Sullivan, who I got to see while I was in the UK. That was awesome. We got to meet up really quickly.
Nice.
That I'm just on the cusp of some incredible happenings and cutscenes, and so. Yeah, I'm still right smack dab in the middle of the game, but I desperately want to see where the story goes.
I am heading to. I'm aware of certain things because Amy's farther than me, and I've joined her for a few of her streams. I'm gonna, so I know a bit more than I've actually played. But as far as what I'm doing is, I'm going to be working on Teach's Hero Quest soon. So that's how far behind I am.
Okay, yeah, you got a little ways to go. Ways.
Yeah. I'm at about the same place you are, Ash.
Okay.
I put the game down for several weeks at this point, but I need to finish it, but other stuff is pulling me in different directions right now. So hopefully before the end of the year. All right. Yeah. Before we get too much further into the show, I do want to read out some of these super chats that I mentioned like 25 minutes ago. But so thank you guys so much for being patient with that. Our first super chat of the show comes from Aramis Baramis with an extremely generous $50 as is his usual. Thank you so much. Aramis writes, "Hey GVG crew, have a great cast, and if I can use this spot to say something, Monday is my birthday. That's all. Keep
happy
awesome.
Birthday.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, or happy almost birthday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I hope you have a great birthday. I hope you play a ton of games, eat good food, get to chill out. Have
any and all of those.
Yes, I hope you can take the day off and really enjoy the day. But happy birthday all the same, and thanks for letting us know. And as always, thank you for the incredibly generous donation.
Yeah, thank you. The second custom that we see on every episode of GVGcast is Jaden Buck with their $10 super chat. Says, crazy question Fridays, crazy question number 54. If there's a time capsule built for in case the human race is ever extinct, what would you want to put in there for future life forms to remember us by?
A Super Nintendo and a copy of Chrono Trigger, baby.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
And a CRT television.
And a CRT.
Man, that's like a heavy question for me.
It is, right?
If I'm being honest, like games are important to me, and I would love to encapsulate something like that. I would probably put a Switch in there, to be honest, because it's like a self-contained gaming system. It doesn't need anything extra.
That's tough. Yeah.
But if you want to encapsulate humanity, I'd probably throw a phone in there. I hate that that's the thing that kind of defines our current era, but everyone has a phone. It's like a device that it's like our version of the Focus.
I'd pick a book, but I'm not sure which book.
Maybe I'd pick like a coffee, like, and just so the people of the future can know how the wonder of coffee and be able to grow it in the future. So
you know what?
To go without it.
just to confuse the hell out of them, but also kind of wrap up humanity anyway. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. There's my book.
There you go.
Nice.
I like
Shiny
that.
Turkey in our live audience chat says 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh no.
Oh no. Twilight. A copy of Twilight.
These people were horny and weird.
All right.
To be fair, just download all of Twitter's data and put it on a thumb drive and throw it in there.
I can't believe we're already up to 54 crazy questions. How did that happen? Where does the time go, man?
That is crazy. Thank you though, Jaden. I really appreciate the crazy questions. That was a really good one, like a really thought-provoking one.
Yeah, it was.
Following that up, we had Rec BCQ with $5. Says, y'all watching any anime recently? I've watched a bunch lately, but the most significant was episode 1 of Chainsaw Man. Great so far. I did watch episode 1 of Chainsaw Man. I thought it was fantastic. It's pretty darn true to the manga. It's every bit as gory and gross as the manga, which I was surprised by. And I also watched episode 1 of Bleach, the new 1,000-year Blood War arc on Hulu, and it's all right. Like it's
Bleach. It's you get what you get.
Yeah, the animation is superb. Like very high quality animation. Props to the studio that's working on it. But the source material is Bleach. So at the end of the day,
if you love Bleach, that's great. If you don't love Bleach, it's not going to change your mind. I think is the key thing here.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. But yeah, that's been my anime intake. What about you guys?
I have not been able to watch much else. I recently I've been watching anime with Amy each night. We watch one episode a night, but we've been working through Sailor Moon. That's what mainly what we've been watching.
Nice.
And at the end of each season, we'll swap to another show and watch that for a bit. And last one we watched is Keep Your Hands Off the Aizoken, which if you're into animation and curious about the process of animating anime, it is a fascinating show and really do recommend. It is a great. We both really enjoyed that one. It's just a nice. Quick 12 episode series. But we're back into Sailor Moon. We're in season 4 now. So Supers. I always thought it was Super S, but apparently it's Supers.
I know.
Oh, really? I thought it was Super S too.
I thought it was Super S too, yeah.
The essence for Sailor Moon S stands for super. So go figure. After that, we're probably going to watch season 2 of Spy Family because we both enjoyed that as well. I sent Ash that opening video for the new Urusei Yatsura anime, which just makes him like yearn for Ranma in that style.
That was such a cool opening, and it's just it's so great to see such a classic anime character brought back to life in a modern format like that. And yeah, as you said, Derek, it just made me want Ranma. Just why can't they give Ranma a reboot if they can do it for Urusei Yatsura?
Which is
I think
an objectively inferior anime.
Right? I know, right? And isn't Maison Ikoku also getting one too?
Maison Ikoku.
Why? What? Inuyasha already got a sequel series.
Rumiko Takahashi
the other got reboots. They're building up to Ranma, saving best for the last.
God, I hope so, man. That would light the world on fire. Like Ranma reboot would do so insanely well with our age group.
I have had multiple dreams throughout the years that Ranma got a reboot, that Rumiko Takahashi announced a Ranma 1/2 sequel, and every time I wake up from those dreams, I'm like, I hate.
Hey, sure would be nice to actually get a conclusion to that story instead of just like, and their adventures continue.
It would, right? Yeah.
I would like to watch Chainsaw Man because I've heard nothing but good things about it, but it's also like I don't know where to watch it because it is so violent. I can't watch it in front of Kai. Amy certainly doesn't want to see that. I don't really know when I'd watch it.
You gotta just watch it on your phone, man. Just hole up somewhere. That's what I used to do.
Much to my great regret, I have so much anime I want to watch, but that I just have not had time to watch. But my answer is actually weirdly similar to yours, Derek. The one anime that I have watched recently was the Sailor Moon Eternal movie, which is the de facto 4th season of Sailor Moon Crystal. It basically stands in as the 4th season of Sailor Moon Crystal, and so my wife and I did watch that. And I did watch the first 2 episodes of. It was good, but it was a little bit slow because it's spread across 2 movies. So it feels like the pacing's a bit slow, but there's also a lot that happens in season 4. So, I can see why.
We're still early in. We just got introduced to, I'm blanking on it, Diana.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Nice.
Just to try to keep it spoiler free for those who care.
So, there's a lot that happens in season 4. So I get why they had to split it across 2 movies, but it does make at least the first part feel like it's a bit slow at times. But the animation, as is typical for Sailor Moon Crystal, is beautiful.
Oh, so the animation's improved after the first season? That's good to know. Because I bounced
off of the first season because of that. So
really? I thought it looked great. Personally, I thought it did.
There were some bits in there that doesn't look so good. Okay. But we're going to be watching that too. It's just like we're going to get through all of the classics, and then I'm going to show her Crystal.
Yeah. The only other thing I've watched recently is the first 2 episodes of Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which was great.
Oh god, that anime is so good.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw of it so far. I keep hearing episode 6 is just insane. So I just need to get around to watching the rest of it.
Edge Runners is a ride, man. I binged it in the first day. I watched all of it.
The whole day, man. Nice.
I was like, there's no way I'm letting this get spoiled for me, and I'm glad I did because that anime goes hard. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, but you watched the recent Dragon Ball Z movie, and you hated it, right, Steve?
Dragon Ball Superhero is hot trash, and I will take no arguments to the contrary.
I enjoyed it, and you are wrong.
No.
Gohan Blanco can get on out of here.
The transformations are iffy, but the rest of it is really good.
The main villain is also iffy, and by iffy I mean shitty.
Okay, that is. I will raise you that wasn't the main villain. It was an obstacle, but it wasn't the main villain. The main villain was what is his name? Scarlet. The sun.
Oh. Garrow's son.
Magenta.
Okay.
Oh, was that his name?
Yeah.
I watched it subbed, so I have no idea. His name was like some play on the word vomit in Japan, which made sense because that movie made me want to puke.
No, it wasn't a take on Magenta's a color, dude.
No. Hold on. Are we talking about the Red Ribbon guy or Dr. Garrow's kid?
Dr. No, the Red Ribbon guy.
Oh, okay, never mind.
The son of Commander Red.
Magenta makes sense. Yes. Okay. He was the true villain. The Dr. Garrow's kid is named Dr. Hedo, which is just another shorthand for vomiting. So is Garrow.
God, I heard
and then his wife's name was
like, why would
Dr.
Vomi? That? I thought you said Dr. Pedo. I'm like, why would they call anybody that? Jesus.
Dr. Pedo. Wow.
No,
that would make
Charles
him the true villain of every
Charles
story.
Martinet was the true villain of Dragon Ball superhero.
That's fair.
He's the one who played Magenta. He was fantastic.
I just think that there's a whole conversation I could go into on that. But thank you, Rec, for the for the super chat. We went deep on anime. We went into the paint on that anime question.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So I'll bang out a few more of these, and then we'll talk about some news because I know at least one story has been getting requested over and over again in the chat already. Wolvervale or Wolverale. I always want to say Wolvervale. With a $2 super chat says favorite childhood and modern game soundtracks: Chrono Trigger and Chrono Trigger.
There you go. I mean, this is such a huge question. I could talk about my favorite video game soundtracks literally forever. Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, Mega Man, most everything, Okami. I could go on and on and on. Xenoblade Chronicles, all 3 of them. I haven't played X.
PSO.
I'm just going to echo those guys because Sonic, there's so many good ones.
Sonic everything. Yeah.
It's a problem. There's so many good ones that it would be hard for me to pick one. But if I had to say modern, PSO, which is still kind of old, childhood, Chrono Trigger, without a doubt.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger is still my favorite soundtrack of all time. And Chrono Cross as well. Chrono Cross is also one of my favorites.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'm going to read 3 more, and then we'll get to some news. Adam O'Sullivan with £4.49 says, hey, first time I've made it to a live show in a while. Managed to stay awake until 1 a.m. today. Well,
oh my God.
Thank you. I'm glad you got brought up then at the top of the show, and I hope that if you're still awake and with us that you're enjoying the show so far. Thanks so much.
Yeah, Adam. And once again, it was a pleasure getting to meet you in person while I was in Birmingham, man.
I want to meet him. I'm going to go out there one of these days.
He said he might come out for E3 next year. He said he might.
Oh, there we go. E3 meetup. International. Let's see. Bongo Lover with a Canadian $5 super chat says, if I was in your position, Ash, I'd just dump a gallon of Danimals on him. Also, how we feeling about Frontiers? It looks fun. I hope a Bongo DLC makes it in. It's hard to believe that that's not a zero possibility.
I know, right? It actually
it's getting
isn't
that
a
Monster
zero
Hunter
possibility.
DLC, so
There
Yeah.
we go. You never know. Bongo could be
Somehow
back.
being smothered in animals would be less gross than that woman who ran her snot through her hair.
hearing John's take on Frontiers makes me very excited to try it out for myself. I saw the recent trailer going over the moveset of Sonic, and it looks pretty decent. I'm hopeful. Please be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's all I
think
got.
Frontiers
I really hope
is going to
so.
be solid.
It feels like it is. It feels like it's going to be good.
I'm surprised that we don't have that a Sonic game with a skill tree could be good. But
Yeah.
hey, I'm
we're
here
getting
for
that
it.
prequel comic.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
That's we're getting a prequel comic,
I'm-
which hey, I'm down for.
And the
I think
prequel
I'm-
animation separately.
Most curious about the Switch version now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, doing an open world Sonic game in itself seems kind of risky. Getting it running on Switch seems
I'm not hopeful in the Switch version. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. I'm
Yeah.
getting this on PS5.
Definitely.
this if it weren't for journalistic curiosity, I would pick it up on PS5, but I feel like I want to play it on Switch just because that's the version that's going to be the worst one. And I want to know what Sonic Frontiers looks like at its worst. Because the Switch footage I
Right.
have seen has actually been good. So who
I
knows,
wouldn't mind-
maybe Sega could pull it out.
I wouldn't mind playing it on Switch after I've at least experienced it for the first time on PS5 or Series X, but like I want my first experience playing that game to be on the best possible,
That's
or at
fair.
least near the best possible
Right.
hardware, you know? So I don't mind, but I would definitely want to compare and contrast. After I experience it on PS5 or whatever, then I'd want to go back and play it on Switch and see
Sure.
how it
Fair
compares. Yeah.
I agree with that. All right, last one for a little bit. Cutie Caitlin with $5 says, "This ain't $20,000, but hopefully you get a good seat." Well, thank you, Cutie Caitlin.
Thank you, Caitlin. Yeah.
we'll find out, but yeah, I still got to plan that trip. I'm gonna wait till Black Friday and see if maybe there's some kind of deal out there, because I would like to travel that far in relative comfort. Anyway. With those super chats out of the way, let's talk a little bit about the week's gaming news. And I know we got to start with this one. It's in the thumbnail, and people have been blown up in the chat about it. So we got introduced to a new gym leader. I believe her name is Iono or Iono.
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 It's
Yeah, I
literally
don't
a play on I don't know.
And she is
I
an
love it.
influencer, and she's got a Pokemon named Bellibolt. And apparently the Pokemon community is quite divided on this topic. I've only seen stills. I haven't seen the actual trailer yet. Derek, why don't you take us through it? What are your thoughts on this reveal that we got this week?
The Pokemon itself is cute. It's another frog Pokemon. I like the design of it. I like the fake out of it, because the things that look like eyes on the side of its head are not actually eyes. It's the little dots that look like its nose. Those are its eyes. So it's actually
Oh.
extremely derpy looking in animation. It's just it's squishy. I don't know. It's kind of cute. It's one of those things like everybody's like, this thing's ugly as sin, but I also love it. So
Are we
that's
looking at the
general
same
reaction I've seen.
Pokemon? There's nothing ugly about Bellibolt. I love this thing.
Well, I'm just saying the Twitter reaction. It's like,
No,
this
no,
is
yeah,
a
so
gremlin
you're-
type
yeah.
thing. It's just a weirdo, but I still love it. As far as I know, I know people were probably kind of put off by the influencer stuff, but they nailed it. They nailed how the influencer aspect works. And really what it comes down to me is, yeah, it's cool that she's the electric type gym leader, but give the game voice acting to have this kind of personality,
Yeah.
this kind of animation, all this, put it in the game. That's what I want.
I agree.
Yeah.
It feels like it's past time for the games to have voice acting. It really
Oh
does.
my God. It's just
Yeah.
amazing how much personality she throws into this. Having it being all Japanese VA, whatever. I don't care. It's still good. Do it. You have the budget.
Yeah.
Do it.
I'm watching this right now, and I gotta say, I like her. I think she's cool.
I do too.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about the Pokemon community. I don't know why everything is so divisive. I don't know. I mean, I'm a casual Pokemon fan. I get it. I'm not super hardcore, but I love her design and I love its design. I think both Iono and Bellibolt are great, and I continue to feel like I've been saying in the past, which is all these new Pokemon and gym leader designs are pulling me back in a way that I haven't felt good about since Gen 6. I dropped out partway through Gen 7. Didn't feel the need to bother with Gen 8, but I want to play Gen 9. I'm loving the designs, you guys.
There's some fun Pokemon in here.
I
The
really
world
like
seems
it.
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm fully sold yet. The thing is, it looks good, but I also have limited cash, and there's a lot of games coming out, so it's like, what do I choose? And I'm still playing through Xeno, so it's like one of those things. Like, what am I going to do? I don't know. It's what I'm seeing looks good.
I'm liking it. I mean, Sonic Frontiers is still my much higher priority. Don't get me wrong, but this is the most excited I've been for a Pokemon game since Gen 6 by far, and I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking. So just to be clear, because I can't listen to the trailer, I could just watch it. Is there voice acting in the trailer at all, or is it just?
Yeah, she talks the entire time.
Oh, I mean,
in Japanese.
I think that's fine. Like, I mean, I agree. She seems extremely expressive, and it seems clear to me, at least, this isn't in-game footage. Like, this is way too good looking for it to be.
No, it's definitely not in-game footage.
Yeah, but I mean, I like the character. I like the Pokemon. I don't see an issue with this. Gym leaders have traditionally been, like, out there and weird, right? Like, it's not like, we have a long history of these completely straight-laced, super serious gym leaders, and then this person comes out of nowhere.
You have the weirdos, you have the more traditional, like, well, not traditional, but typical ones. But
Mm-hmm.
I think she's right in there in the long line of weirdo gym trainers, and she
is not out of line whatsoever.
Well, and I mean, like it or not, influencers are a thing. Whether you like them or not, they are a thing, and Pokemon has long kind of reflected real life trends. So I don't really see why this is an issue. I think it's fun. She's got a cool design. I don't know. I like it. I like her. I think Bellibolt's great. I'm here for it. Everything they've shown so far of Gen 9 continues to make me very happy as kind of a lapsed Pokemon fan.
Yeah. I think that Gen 9 looks really cool. I think that this is a really cool design for a character. I like that she has Magnemites in her hair, like custom colored Magnemites. I think that's a really cool twist that they put on a gym leader, like incorporating actual Pokemon into her design. I don't know. I like it. The more I see of the new Pokemon games, the more excited I become to play them. This is definitely going to be my holiday, like, go-to game. When I actually have time to sit down and dig deep into something, I'm going to play the hell out of this.
Yeah.
It's a weird thought. Pokemon Legends came out this year.
I know, right? Right? How did that even... How is that the same year? That's weird to think. Yeah. It's also, it's bizarre. I don't even know how that's possible. It's also weird to think that Shredder's Revenge came out this year. This year's been weird, man. I don't know. The passage of time this year just feels
felt strange. Like a long year.
Yeah.
It's been a stacked year for sure. But I think this is really cool. I like the new Pokemon. I like this new influencer style trainer. I mean, we're YouTubers. Like, if I lived in the world of Pokemon, I might be someone like that.
I see that. I'm like, man, that is so true to life. It feels like it feels like they nailed her.
Yeah, I think Vedron in the live audience chat was saying that it reminds them of a Japanese VTuber, and I have to agree. It's got some VTuber vibes to it.
Definitely has a bit of that.
And Sleepy Esper in our YouTube chat said some folks are saying that Iono may have been designed by Mega Man mangaka Hitoshi Arika, which, given Arika's art style, I could definitely see that being the case. I don't know if it actually is, but that would be cool if so. I love his art.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Very cool.
All right, so from one franchise I know a little bit about to one I know almost nothing about. I'm going to look at the two of you and lean on the power of friendship for this one. But as I understand it, an animatic for Kingdom Hearts has been released, and I'm looking at that right now myself. I've got that on my screen, and what am I looking at?
I'll be honest, it's rough, but it's also so much better than I ever would have imagined.
That's exactly how I feel about it. I mean, animatic art in general tends to be rough, so that's not that surprising. But some of the faces and some of the expressions you get in this animatic are hilariously bad and cursed.
Oh, Riku especially.
Yeah, particularly.
Just ridiculous ones.
But I like you, Derek. I would not have thought that a Western animation take on Kingdom Hearts would turn out to be any sort of thing I would ever want to see or that they would get right. But I was proven wrong by this animatic. I would have been happy to see at least what they're showing here. I would have been happy to see this turned into a full show because is shocking just how true to how authentic to the vibe and overall canon of Kingdom Hearts this animatic is. It does take some creative liberties from Kingdom Hearts 1. It's not just the game retold, but it does keep that Kingdom Hearts vibe to it. And it seemed like this could have been something really cool if it had ever been made.
And there was definitely some fun parts in there, like Goofy having more of a fatherly vibe to Sora, giving him like this advice is like, hey, the king saw something in you, so there's definitely something in there with you. You just got to believe in yourself. That sort of thing that we've seen before. It's just nice to hear it from Goofy and Bill Farmer acting his butt off. And they have this whole bit where Kyrie kicks a Heartless. So that said, the animatic has been taken down at this point, and not because of anything else. It's not like it's been claimed or anything, or Disney did anything like that. But the Seth Kearsley, who was the one who I think was trying to work on this, director and producer. He was director and producer of it.
Oh, okay.
He has taken the animatic down due to request by an old friend at Disney. So it is no longer up, but I guarantee you can find it. It's not hard to find.
Oh no, I watched it on.
Claim this quick.
I watched it on Twitter just now.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it wasn't the whole thing. It was about 2 minutes. Is that the?
Yeah, that's not the whole thing. There's definitely.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
I had
like
seen
11
2 minutes of it. It looks interesting. I mean, I would have liked a Kingdom Hearts show. It looks like they were trying to lean, based on the limited portion that I viewed, it looked like they were trying to lean into more like the American Disney art style for this, like the traditional one that you see in a lot of their animated films.
I would have been
Sora
curious
and Riku
to
still
see.
look like it's not a bad blend where they have a kind of an American face, but the rest of it is straight up the design.
Oh yeah, the designs are faithful to the game, but it's like their facial features look like that traditional like Disney 2D art style that we're all kind of used to seeing.
Definitely.
Where I would say they, those characters in Kingdom Hearts, they look very Final Fantasy-esque in the game.
Very anime. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something, like I said, it's something that I thought would have worked, but after seeing it, even with some of that sloppier animatic art, I'm like, you know what? Maybe this could have worked, and it would have worked in a Western animated style, like Western cartoon style. And yeah, I particularly really like the dynamic between Sora and Riku. I really thought that was captured very well in the script of the animatic, and I'm just over here thinking about how surprised I am that I was like, yeah, this really seemed like it could have worked, and I kind of wish it had been made.
Yeah, I was never heartbroken that it never got made because I'm like, well, this would have just been a disaster. So
yeah,
seeing it, it's like, you know what, might have worked.
I agree. Thinking of it, like it sounds like it'd be terrible. Your mind kind of flashes back to like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat cartoon shows from when we were kids, and you're like, oh god, like I don't want that to happen to Kingdom Hearts. But this looks significantly better than kind of the late 90s drivel we got out of the American animation industry.
Yeah.
I would have been good to see this. I didn't realize that the Seth Kearsley person worked on 8 Crazy Nights, which was one of my favorite animated movies of the early 2000s. Like,
oh, nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. An Adam Sandler animated movie back in 2002, like when he was still considered to be somewhat good. Yeah, I would have been down to see this. I wonder how many more like lost pilots there are out there for things that we just don't know about. I think last month we had the Sailor Moon pilot, the American Sailor Moon.
Oh, that was hideous.
Yeah,
that
was
factually hideous. Yeah.
Amy has the theme song stuck in her head, and every so often she'll sing it to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really bad. Like really bad. And then they had him like sailing. Yeah, I could go on about that, but yeah, I would have been interested to see this. Let's see. I don't think we have a ton more to say on that. I want to ask you, have either of you picked up the Xenoblade DLC pass for Xenoblade 3?
So,
not yet.
I want to, but there's a bit of a problem. Both Amy and I are playing it, but we have different separate Switches, and we don't. It's like I have to buy it twice if we both want to enjoy it.
Yeah, and this is one of the only first-party DLCs that's not in the expansion.
Right.
Like in the Switch Online expansion pack, right?
That would have been really nice, I gotta say, but no, it's not in there.
Like,
I was actually just talking about this with my wife yesterday. She asked if I was going to get the DLC, and I think mainly it just kind of shakes out to what Wave 4 ends up being like, what the new story is like. Because I don't feel the need to pay for new hero quests and cosmetics. I'm like, Wave 2 and 3 don't really appeal to me all that much. But Wave 4, if it is as good as Torna apparently was, I never got to play it. But if it is on that scale and it's as good as Torna, I'll spring for it for sure.
Yeah, I wonder about that.
But if it's not, then I'd maybe not. It just really it comes down to the quality of that extra story.
I have a feeling it'll be up to the quality of Torna. And the thing is, from everybody I've seen talking about this new DLC character, it's pretty fun. It's a pretty great character.
Nice.
I may check it out.
There's a lot of extra gameplay thanks to the challenge mode, which apparently is pretty challenging. And get those swimsuits for everybody. See. The thing that stands out to me the most, though, is I had no idea Noah was rocking abs like that. I was like, holy crap, dude.
Right.
Noah's buff, man.
He is ripped.
See, the problem for me is that I wonder if they're going to pull like an Octo expansion and then just later on when sales have tapered off, they're going to be like, oh, hey, if you've got Switch Online, boom, here's the DLC for free.
Right.
And then I'm going to be like, I spent $30 on this and I could have waited because I haven't even beat the game.
And I know the thing is, I'm at a point where I could naturally just slot it in and it would be no different. That's the thing. It's not like I'm missing out on anything. Right. I could just have it naturally be there, which just makes it really tempting.
It's true.
It's the fact that I have to get it for myself and I have to get it for Amy because we're playing on 2 separate Switches.
Well, yeah.
That's already another $60.
Yep.
That's the other part of it. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I was going to say that was the big part of it for me was, I live in a 3-Switch household. And so when Nintendo adds this DLC, even for just one game that all 3 of us are playing, that pays for the whole thing for the year for me. Like Animal Crossing covered me for 1 year of, the family plan, which is $80.
Right.
Yeah. Enough that your kids probably got their fill and they're done.
Yep. Exactly.
I think, this is no secret to you guys. I'm not a big fan of Xenoblade battle systems in general. So the thought of paying for extra challenging content doesn't really appeal to me because I just don't really enjoy the game, the battle system itself that much, even though I do like it way more than 2s. So for me, Xenoblade comes really down to just story. And I just don't know that hero quests alone are enough for me to spring for it. But if Wave 4 comes correct with a Torna style, separate story, I'm in for that for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I saw someone make the point that the expansion pass is more about multiplayer focused games, but Octo expansion is single player DLC, and that's on there. So
that's true. That is.
I mean, did they put Breath of the Wild's DLC in there? I can't remember. I mean, I don't
think so. No, they haven't.
No.
And they probably won't do it for Breath of the Wild 2 either.
It's funny, Steve. The problem you just described in terms of not knowing whether you want to buy it or not because they might just add it to the expansion pass is the same exact problem I'm having with the Switch OLED. I keep being so close, just springing for it and just wanting to get it, but I fear that as soon as I do, they're going to announce like the next iteration of the Switch, like the 4K or something, and or if not right away, maybe in a few months, and then I'll just feel like it was wasted.
I don't think so
badly. Yeah.
I was all aboard the Switch Pro train for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I firmly believe now, though, that ship has just full on sailed. I think that Nintendo, to be clear, I believe it existed. I fully believe it existed.
Too, yeah.
I think Nintendo, for whatever reason, didn't release it. And now
maybe
it's been
supply chain
too long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was probably supply chain issues. And I think that they probably reevaluated how they would have to position that console in the market, especially in a post-Switch OLED world.
Right.
Where now the Switch OLED is $350. So now you have a $400 Switch or even a $500 Switch. Like then you're up against the PS5 and people are really going to eyeball that hardware and be like, what am I getting for this much money? So I think Nintendo has to introduce like a generational leap.
Yeah.
And they have to do it in such a way that they can basically slot it in at either the $349 or $399 price point. That and I think that's the absolute highest you can go. Ideally, Nintendo would launch it at $300 like they did with the original Switch. But I don't think a more advanced Switch is going to go there. I think Nintendo's going to keep the Switch. Like the OLED will drop down to $299, and whatever the next generation Switch will come in at $349, and the OG Switch will just be gone.
I think you're right. I'm getting closer and closer to just pulling the trigger for all the reasons you just stated. I agree with you. I think it is a little too late to introduce a Switch 4K, but like a new iteration of the existing hardware or anything close to it. It would have to be a generational leap at this point.
And my one big hope for the generational leap is that everything I bought on the Switch carry over.
Yeah.
Please, dear God.
Yeah. Whatever it is, it needs to be a Switch still. Like, it needs to be Switch 2 or whatever, but it needs to be fully backwards compatible. No way I'm buying... I think I have like 400 Switch games between digital and physical.
Not that many. No way that many, but I have a ton.
Yeah. And so it's just... there's no way I'm letting them hit the reboot button on the eShop again. I will
I'd be pissed.
Oh, I know. Yeah, seriously.
Not a chance, agree. Nintendo, you hear me? Not a chance. I will hack whatever that thing is if you try to get me to buy Breath of the Wild for the 40th time. All right. Let's see. I think that about covers the big news and us complaining. Final Fantasy VII, The First Soldier, is being discontinued, but I don't think any of us have played it.
Oof, that's just more like, oof, it barely lasted a year. Like, yikes.
Well, that's the thing, is that I feel like it might have had a chance if they had it off of mobile. I would have gave it a shot if it was on console.
I forgot it was out. I heard it was shutting down. I was like, oh, that came out? And I downloaded it, and I still haven't played it. I put it on my phone. I was like, I'll get to it.
It is absolutely, and I mean, I know we've said this to death, but it's just, it bears repeating because it still blows my mind. It is absolutely bonkers that Ever Crisis is not at least announced for Switch. It is absolutely...
Maybe they'll rethink that after the First Soldier's performance.
Maybe. I hope so. I mean, that is definitely... Ever Crisis is the kind of mobile game that I am committed to, casting to my TV and playing with a controller if I have to, because it's Ever Crisis. I want to play that game so bad.
I believe that it's coming to Apple TV, which may be the way I end up playing it, so I can have a pseudo console experience.
Yeah,
there you go.
But Square's really having a hard time with their live service games in general. I mean, there's The First Soldier, Babylon's Fall, that died immediately. Like, the live service model doesn't seem to work particularly well for them.
No. Agreed. I think they're just desperately trying to break into it, and they don't know how.
Yeah.
All right, before we move on to our Patron Topics, which if you'd like to find out how you can submit a topic, head over to patreon.com/GVGaming. Where at, I believe it's our producer tier and above, you can submit topics for each and every episode of GVGcast. We'll randomly pick them, or rather pick them based on whether we think we have something cool to say. But before we get to those, I do have a few more super chats. Thank you guys for waiting while we chat about potential Nintendo hardware and Square's crashing and burning in the live service sector. Our next one comes from Meerpat with $2. Just says, hey, back from a long road trip. 3 days both ways. Well, welcome back. I hope you had a great road trip. I hope you had a lot of fun. Road trips can be great if you're, in the mood for that kind of thing.
With the right people.
With little kids, it can be a little difficult.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Rec BCQ with $2. Chapter 4 is amazing. I hype screamed so much. I'm like right at the end of Chapter 4, so maybe I'll finish that off tonight. I need to know what happens.
Yeah, I'm going to try to finish that off tonight as well, because everyone I've talked to keeps saying, just get ready. And I'm like, oh man, I'm already so invested in it. How could it get even crazier? I can't wait.
Absolutely. Love Hugh, which is a name that I absolutely adore, with $5 says, do you think there's an unspoken rule that some genres are blocked from Game of the Year because of a focused approach, like JRPGs, character, action, puzzle? I wouldn't go as far as to say an unspoken rule, but I do think there's some bias.
Definitely. I would agree with that.
But bias, or just, it's not the wide appealing games. It's rare that RPGs are super sellers in the same vein as, your God of Wars, your Horizons, your
GTAs.
I think in the same way that people talk about Oscar bait in movies, that the same kind of mentality holds true for games. I think there are certain kinds of games and certain developers that just tend to be Game of the Year bait more often than not.
And there are, as people are pointing out, there are exceptions, like Persona 5, Final Fantasy 7 remake.
Yeah, I don't think it comes down to
sometimes
sales.
The quality pops through. Yeah, it's not. There's not a formula.
It's not a hard fast rule, but yeah, there is probably a mentality there, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think you're ever going to see like Puyo Puyo in Game of the Year nominations, for instance,
No.
which is one of the things they were mentioning. Elden Ring's going to get nominated for everything this year. Even though I think it's a good game. I don't think, in my mind, it's not a Game of the Year nominee. Like, I wouldn't put it up.
I have not tried it, but it got talked about by everyone. So they had that.
And it just completely overshadowed Horizon Forbidden West,
which is a shame. I think Horizon Forbidden West is the better game by a long shot.
I haven't played Elden Ring yet. I can't comment on Elden Ring, but I mean, as you know, it's still, probably my game of the year so far, Steve, as well as yours, maybe.
It's so far Horizon is still standing strong. I'm curious to see what God of War does. I still think there's room for Horizon to get knocked off its perch, but it was one of the best games I've played in a very long time. Anyway, go ahead.
Zaffray in our live audience patron chat has a good point, saying that you can spot Game of the Year bait when they brag about how big their map is. That is definitely true. Yep.
Compensating.
Yep.
That is true. Oh, well, thank you so much for the question, Love You. That was it sparked insightful discussion.
Yes.
Yeah, that could have devolved into its whole episode on its own. Following that up, we have Game Belt Summit with $6. Says, I have 2 questions. 1, what video game worlds would be horrible to live in real life, and what worlds would be the safest to live in? 1, Fortnite. Like, people just drop out of the sky and shoot each other to death constantly.
Spira would be for number 1. As much as I love that world, I wouldn't want to live in it because of the constant threat of sin. Just destroying cities outright.
I'll throw a curveball for worst. Twisted Metal.
That is a good one. That's a good one. Any Fallout would suck.
Any Fallout. Yep.
Good worlds to live in.
Let's see. Good worlds. I would also throw out the world of Mega Man Zero as a world I'd never want to live in because it's just constant war.
I'm gonna say the world of Super Mario. Like, by and large, Mario deals with local level crises. Like, oh no, the princess was kidnapped. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to work.
I would maybe even throw out the world of classic Mega Man because Dr. Wily is so incompetent. That's true. There's never really any real danger because Mega Man's always taking him down, and Dr. Wily's never a real threat.
That's true. You read about it on your phone. You're like, oh yeah, that Wily guy.
Here we go again.
Doing some dumb shit again. Made a razor blade robot.
Yeah,
got shot.
Another one about a world I'd never want to live in: the world of Pokemon. That would be the most terrifying world to live in if you take all the Pokedex entries at their word and just take them literally. What a terrifying world to live in.
That's true. Also the fact that your mom would push you out of the house at 12 and be like, get out there and be somebody.
Yeah.
Make animals fight each other, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at honestly, good worlds. I'm looking at my game library over here. I'm just like, what is a good world to live in? And all of them are kind of just have their own little problems. So I got to go let's just live in the Story of Seasons. That's nice and
there you go.
On the other hand, I would say the world of Mega Man Battle Network would be one that I would never want to live in because everything's connected to the internet, but everything's also always getting hacked into, contaminated by bugs. I mean, we've seen all these horrible things that happen in the scenarios of those games where an air conditioner system is hijacked and fills your house with toxic gas, stuff like that. I'm good. Cyber terrorism on a global scale, I'm good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the question. I'm going to read a couple more out, then we're going to get to our patron topics. Kane Woolley is back with a New Zealand $5 super chat. Says, been absent a while, randomly started suffering from dyspnea. I hope I read that correctly. I don't know. Which sparked my anxiety, feeling much improved and hoping you all have been keeping well. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better. Sorry that you've been out for a little while, but I'm glad to hear
you're feeling better.
Yeah,
dyspnea is difficult or labored breathing, so I had to look that up. But,
okay.
Yeah, really
definitely sparking anxiety.
Yeah, really sorry to hear that, Kane. But glad you're on the mend. Sounds like you're doing a little better, and we're really glad to always see your name in chat. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, that would make me nervous for sure.
Yeah.
Following that, Affleck McQuack, which I just love that name, with $15 says my work schedule has been fixed for me to finally catch y'all live and vibe with the community. Plus, I can now ask this question if it hasn't before: who's winning, Mega Man or Astro Boy?
I'll go straight for violence. I mean, where I'm going. It's Mega Man all day, every day, baby. But
honestly, I think Astro Boy has it.
Yeah. I feel like it would be a good fight.
it'd be a good fight, but I think Astro Boy is just a bit stronger.
But Mega Man has more versatility. He's got like 80 plus weapons that he can.
Does he have guns in his butt?
in his butt, maybe not. To be fair, maybe not in his butt. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's true. Mega Man doesn't have butt guns. I can't argue that. But he does have, over 80 different weapons that Astro Boy doesn't. So, and he's got like shields. He's got rush. Like, I feel like he has more. He has a wider variety of things. I
feel like Astro Boy has just more natural strength, though. So
okay. I don't know. I'm sticking with Mega Man, but I can see it. I'm not going to be that guy who's like, oh, it's Mega Man and Astro Boy sucks. It's easy. I'm sure it would be a really good fight.
The thing is, you're acting as if Mega Man has access to all of his powers right off the bat. He has 80 plus. Like, yeah, but he doesn't have that when I start Mega Man's 11.
Yeah, I think usually when you like have those kinds of like face-offs, though, you have to kind of take each character at their theoretical maximum strength, right?
True.
Like Astro Boy has all of his stuff and Mega Man has all of his stuff, and then you have to compare it with that kind of mentality in mind.
The death battle method.
Yeah, the death battle method. And as was pointed out here, Astro Boy did win the actual screw attack death battle.
I didn't watch that one, so I didn't realize.
I didn't watch that one either.
Yeah, I'm reading some of his feats because I'm not familiar with Astro Boy, but I gotta say, after reading it, I think Astro Boy takes it. Like at one point in the series, he apparently cuts a skyscraper in half and throws half of it at someone. So
nice.
I think Mega Man's gonna struggle. Also, apparently, Astro Boy's jet boots can take him all the way into space. So
okay, all right.
I feel like at best he could run away if he needed to.
Sure. Fair enough.
Yeah, as much as I thought that was going to go Mega Man's way, and I'm not sure that it wouldn't if it was like X in like Ultimate Armor or something.
Yeah, later like Mega Man versions.
OG Mega Man, I think, is getting the smoke from Astro Boy.
Gotcha.
Well, that's a good question.
X is the one where I just go full asshole. I'm like, Astro Boy.
Oh,
X wins this easily. Yeah.
X is a killing machine.
Yeah.
Anyway, finally, before we move on to our patron topics, Mere Pat with $2 just says Sailor Jupiter is best girl, and I'm going to disagree. Sailor Mercury still exists.
Sailor Mercury, same here. Best girl.
Jupiter. Although Amy's favorite is Venus.
Sailor V.
I mean, there's no wrong answer here, really.
There really isn't. What's really funny to me is I remember, like as a kid, thinking they got so much more. The other girls got so much more development in the OG series, but rewatching it, it's like, oh, they just have that one trait that they just hammer again and again and again. That's it.
Squire phrasing. I'm not going to shout into your anus. All right. Anyway, with those out of the way, thank you guys so much for the super chats. We'll get to the rest of them before the end of the show. We do have our patron submitted topics for this week. And Ash, since you've been away for the last episode, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Sure. So we've had Sonic on the mind here with Sonic Frontiers coming up. So I thought this was topical. My topic this week comes from Aflac McQuack, which I love that name. Also, you're in chat today, Aflac. So just want to let you know that is a great name. With Sonic Frontiers on the horizon, assuming it sells relatively well, what do you think is next for Sonic Team? Do you think we could see future Ultimate remasters, a new classic title, or maybe even another shot at a spin-off? And I thought this was an interesting question because I don't know that we've really thought about too much about what happens after Frontiers. I mean, it's got to be like either a side project or remaster or a 2D game because, we get these big tentpole 3D Sonic games only once every, 5 years or so. Mm-hmm. So I have to imagine that there's something that's going to come before the next 5-year big 3D Sonic game. And I know what I want it to be. I want it to be the follow-up to Mania that we should have gotten but never have. But I don't want Sonic Team to make it because I frankly don't know that they do as good a job, and I really don't think they would. So I would like to see a Generations remaster. I love Sonic Generations, and I think that's probably after Colors, the next game that's really ripe for a remaster. But if we're going to go full pie in the sky, what I really want and think Sonic Team is capable of delivering on is either a Sonic Adventure remake, like remake/remaster, or I'm just going to say it, Sonic Adventure 3. That's what I want. But I don't know what we're actually going to get. But I think it'll be something like a remaster or maybe a 2D game before we get our next big tentpole 3D game. What about you guys, though?
Man, well, you basically said everything that I would say. Because Adventure 3 would be where I'd want them to go if they had to develop something original. But obviously my heart wants Mania 2 more than anything. I mean, where the hell is that? I remember,
I know.
I've said it before, but I interviewed Takashi Iizuka years ago, and he mentioned that Mania was what he envisioned as one of the 3 platforms, he called it, of the Sonic franchise. He said, you had your 3D games, you had your racing games, and you had Mania. And then we just never got anything from that. So, I hope that headcanon gets pulled back together and they can come back for a Mania 2. It's shocking to me that they didn't just try to acquire them outright after that.
Well, I guess the grapevine has it that that Sonic Team kind of their feathers are ruffled a bit because they were upset. At least this is the rumor, at least, that they were upset and kind of jealous that people were so much more hype over Sonic Mania than Forces, and kind of resented that. And
that tracks, unfortunately.
It does track. I agree.
If you have ever read Console Wars by Blake Harris, he paints a picture of a lot of infighting at Sega and how Sega of Japan would get very jealous when other outside folks succeeded where they could not. So I believe it.
Mm-hmm. As for me, I mean, if Frontiers does well, I can see them just working on a Frontiers 2 or expanding that concept and focusing more on that than any kind of remake. They'd probably hire out somebody else to handle a remake of Adventure or Adventure 2 or or a remaster of one of the others. Personally, what I would want most, because it's still my favorite race,
I know you're going
kart
with
racer,
Yep.
Get Sumo Digital. Screw Team Sonic Racing. I want my All-Star Racings transformed too.
Dude,
yes.
or a remaster of the original game, or both. But I want that so bad.
No, All-Star Racing transformed is so freaking good, and to see them expand upon that idea would be amazing. Spread out the love. We can get some Yakuza stages now. We can get, I don't know, go wild.
A Yakuza stage would be sick.
Driving around Kamurocho would be badass.
Yeah, come on.
Playable Ichiban, please.
I love
would
this
be
idea.
So cool. I want that so much. And yeah, like you, Derek, Transformed is one of my very favorite racing games of all time. Might even be my favorite. And I would love to see Sumo return to that well. There's so much more they could do.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, seriously.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the question, Affleck McQuack. I just had to say it again. I like that name.
Such a good name.
Derek, what topic did you pick for this week?
Mine comes from Caitlin, who says, I love strategic RPGs/JRPGs, and I recently bought Fire Emblem Three Houses on Switch and love it. Can any of you recommend other great strategic/turn-based RPGs on the Switch that I can check out? What are some of your favorites overall anyway? Well, sadly, I cannot recommend Final Fantasy Tactics to you because it's not on the Switch, but if it comes to Switch, get it. However, I have 2 that I can recommend that I have not played, but I've heard amazing things about. One is Triangle Strategy. I've heard great things. I've seen from some people say it reaches the apex of some of those classic turn-based RPGs or strategy RPGs like Final Fantasy Tactics and whatnot. Another one, if you want another one that's close to Tactics and is getting a remaster soon, coming out soon, is Tactics Ogre, made by the same team who would go on to do Final Fantasy Tactics. So great there. But if you want my personal favorite strategy RPG that I love to death, Valkyria Chronicles 1 or 4.
Yeah.
Both are great. Both are on Switch. Both are very cheap. They tend to be pretty cheap. Valkyria Chronicles love. It's fantastic. Very different, with great characters and story. So those are my recommendations.
Very nice.
I haven't played a ton of strategy RPGs beyond like the really main tentpole ones that we all love, like Final Fantasy Tactics and such. One that I would point out that is getting a remaster that's coming to the Switch. We don't know how good it's going to be yet, but I love the original. That's Front Mission 3. Front Mission 3 is one of my favorite strategy RPGs of all time back on the PS1. And we did just find out it's getting remastered along with Front Mission 1 and 2 on Switch. How those remasters will turn out, though, is anyone's guess. So it's kind of hard to say.
It's our first time getting 1 and 2, isn't it? So I'm curious about those.
So
hopefully.
There's also the Disgaea series. Disgaea 1 in particular is great. Disgaea, and I think there's Disgaea D2 is a remake of 1. Is that correct?
No, D2. I thought D2 was a direct sequel.
Yeah, D2 was like a port. I can't remember. I thought it was 2. Yeah, it's Disgaea Dimension 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that's a direct sequel because
my bad. Okay.
Each Disgaea 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, they'll feature characters from the previous games, but it's a whole new story.
No, D2 is like a continuation of 1. Disgaea 2, I believe, actually had different characters.
A whole new story.
Then Disgaea 1 Complete is probably the one you'd want to check out on Switch.
No,
it's not.
You want to check out 5. Trust me.
Oh, okay.
Trust me.
I stopped playing them at 3 because they're
I like
long.
1. I haven't
They're
played 5,
not
though.
connected. I was actually going to recommend Disgaea 5.
Okay.
It was a Switch launch title, and it had been out on PlayStation 4 for a while before that. I liked it so much that I double dipped and played it again on Switch, and it's perfect platform for that game.
I'd also recommend La Pucelle. That's another one just came out as part of the Prinny Presents one with a Rhapsody, which is a musical RPG, which is very unique. But La Pucelle, kind of like Disgaea, good stuff.
Yeah, Disgaea has really fun characters, and honestly, NIS America is deeply underrated for the quality of strategy RPGs they put out across lots of consoles.
It's not Switch, but I would point out if you still have access to a 3DS, I reviewed a game back on GX called Stella Glow that was kind of a random release that I'd never heard of before when I reviewed it, but it ended up being really good. I liked it a lot. So if you have access to a 3DS, I would recommend Stella Glow. Also, I believe Yasunori Mitsuda did the music for it. And he's the genius involved in Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, all those amazing soundtracks. So definitely check that game out if you have access to a 3DS. And you had mentioned Triangle Strategy, Derek. There is a demo for that if you just want to kind of dip your toes in and see if you like it or not. And there's also another strategy RPG that just came out from Square Enix for the Switch called the Diofield Chronicle. And I haven't played it, but I've heard good things. And it also has a demo. So you can check it out, see if you like it. And the progress does carry over to the full game, if I remember correctly.
I've seen people mention Metal Slug Tactics is coming next year as well. And I'm curious about that one.
Yeah, and eventually we'll get Advance Wars at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
Apparently, let's see. Somebody was at got Nintendo Zero about it, and they just said we're still trying to find a new release date. So eventually, but that game's been done for like a year or more. People have it too. Like a few people ended up getting it. But anyway, thank you so much for the question. There's a ton of strategy RPGs on the Switch. I didn't realize that.
There's a ton that just came out this year. We literally have Mario plus Rabbids next week.
Right, that's coming next week.
God, I want to play that.
Me too.
It'd be nice to.
I gotta stick with Xenoblade though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll find time for it eventually. I hope, but I don't know when. All right, finally, the last topic of the show. Mine comes from Colin, who says, I've been playing this little niche game called Fortnite recently, and it's got me thinking about collabs and crossovers in games. Are there any IPs that you love so much that you will almost inevitably play a game that does a collab with it? And if so, what is it? And I gotta say, I will pick up any Nintendo first-party collab. Like, if a Nintendo character appears in another game, I'm trying it.
I mean, that's why I picked up. I mean, I was already interested in Soul Calibur because I thought it looked amazing on Dreamcast. When I saw it today. And then just have Soul Calibur 2 come out and it had Link. I'm like, well, okay. I'm buying that.
I mean, you all already know the obvious answer for me. I mean, right here. Mega Man. I mean, Mega Man, anything I will play, a crossover with. I mean, I've been begging for Mega Man to come to Fall Guys since Fall Guys came out. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Steve. Any Nintendo crossover, I'm pretty much going to be there for. Kirby in particular. I love Kirby to death. So yeah, Mega Man, Kirby, Chrono Trigger.
For sure. Man, if we got a Chrono Trigger crossover, I'd be all over it.
In a second, yeah.
I want to flip the question upside down a little bit. I will say, rather than characters crossing over, I will play any Capcom crossover game. Like when Capcom invites another company to something, I'm like, whatever, I'm buying that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I still want a 2D hand animated Nintendo versus Capcom. I think that would be the coolest shit in the world, man. I think that would be amazing.
Oh, man,
that'd be wonderful.
Yeah. And yes, Stat Alpha Line, I did download Dragalia Lost when Mega Man showed up. That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You bring me Mega Man in anything, chances are I'm going to play it. So I have already committed to streaming Fortnite. If Mega Man ever gets into Fortnite, I am honor bound to stream Fortnite.
I will join you. I'll stream Fortnite with you. I'll hop in. I'll help guide you through the cesspool that is, that is competitive Fortnite. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for the questions. We do have a few more super chats to read out, and then we got to get over to the post show. It was a long one today. I think we missed Ash a little bit. All right. So our next super chat comes courtesy of ABCDEFGH or Av. They say, "Hey, GVG crew, random chat question. As I'm just now leaving work, are there any new horror movies / shows you want to try this year?" That's a really good question for spooky season. I saw there's a new Halloween movie coming out, and I don't know how I feel about like octogenarian Jamie Lee Curtis fighting Michael Myers, but I might want to see it.
It's the end of that trilogy, that new trilogy. So
I kind of wanted to see Smile, because isn't it based on like a YouTube short that was really creepy and they made a full movie out of it?
Is it? I heard good things about it, but I've not seen it. I'm not too aware of what's coming out, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you have kids, you kind of fall out of touch with what movies are hot. Because you can't take them anyway. So.
No, definitely out of that. I mean, the closest I'd be able to say is literally Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would really like to see a new series from the same person who made the Haunting of Bly Manor. I thought that was a great show, and the one before that, its predecessor, I think it was the Haunting of Hill House or something. But
I've heard Haunting at Hill House is amazing.
It was fantastic, and Bly Manor was different, but also really good. But I would love to see. I would watch any new horror show from that director, I guess, or whoever it was. Yeah, that team. But yeah, definitely from that team, I'd love to see something new. But yeah, Smile, I'd like to check out.
I want to see Evil Dead Rise. I had to Google it, but apparently there's a new Evil Dead coming out next year.
Oh, okay.
I would love to see that. Huh. Yeah, Evil Dead Rise, April 21st.
I'm sad. I've seen the original Evil Dead, and I've seen Army of Darkness. I've still yet to see Evil Dead 2.
Oh, wow.
It feels like a shame.
Definitely need to fix that. Well, thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, I need to get back up on horror movies, apparently. Following that up, we have Gold Pac-Man 135. What's wrong with me? With $5 saying, "Remember Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventure was a thing? Man, who knew a redesign can make people mad?"
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah.
That's like the most obvious thing. Redesigns always piss people off.
I have actually seen a lot of that show because a while back, Avery could not get enough of it. And so I've seen a lot. It's terrible, but but she was super into it when she was like 4 or 5 years old. And so I've seen most of the series. It's all right. But yeah, I dislike the Pac-Man design in that show. Honestly, really dislike the ghosts.
I feel like redesigns piss people off more often than they don't, if anything.
Yeah.
Like, I think most people get, redesigns most often seem to anger a fan base of an established character.
I was going to say, that's...
Yeah. I was, I try not to get upset over video games because I don't think it's worth getting upset over video games, but I did the whole fanboy thing when they first showed off that canceled Maverick Hunter FPS with the American designed X with the cyborg look. Yeah. I was that angry fanboy. Well, like, this isn't my X. Yeah, like
the Mega Man Fully Loaded or whatever it was. TV show. You were also against.
God, Fully Charged. That was
Fully Charged.
Yep. That design was awful. Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, fan's gonna fan. And Pac-Man was not as offensive as some of those examples.
It's not as bad as some of the others. No.
Yeah,
it wasn't great. All right, thank you so much for the super chat, Gold Pac-Man. Following that up, Cutie Caitlin with a $5 super chat. I'm going to translate it. It says, "Kingdom Hearts animatic looked so fun. Any game adaptations you'd like to see canceled or would just want to see?" I got it. Any game adaptations I'd want to see. I would well, I mean, we're getting the Mario movie, which fortunately seems like the good future. I would love to see, I'm going to say it, I've said it before, I want a Smash Bros anime.
Oh, yes, please.
I think anime, I think Kid Icarus.
Kid Icarus anime, a Smash anime. I feel like a Xenoblade anime could be pretty damn cool. It's already basically anime. I know I keep dipping into this well. It just happens to be that kind of day today. But, the Day of Sigma anime short in Maverick Hunter X is to me an absolute proof of concept that Mega Man X is made for a full anime series. If I could get a full series that chronicled the entire saga of X done in the style of the Day of Sigma, I think that would be incredible. I've
that
always
would be
wanted.
cool.
God, that would be cool.
I enjoyed the Day of Sigma short.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was so good.
Day of Ligma in the chat.
Oh, God.
That's really good. All right. Well, thank you so much for the super chat, Caitlin. Following that up, we got Titus Malvolio with $5. Says, my dudes just got off work, so it's time to send some good vibes to my favorite crew on the internet.
Aww.
Happy to have you in my ear for the drive home. I hope you're still not driving home because we've been on for a while.
Yeah,
got home safely. But I'm glad you're here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Titus.
Beyond that, I'm not going to say following that up every time. Rec BCQ with $5 says, I started liking posts that have Xenoblade Chronicles 3 spoilers recently, but now that I remember that none of you have beat it yet, I might save that for later. Don't worry, I'm not trolling your likes.
Yeah.
I don't troll them, but they also just pop up.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
I appreciate the thought.
Yes, thank you.
I do appreciate that because trying to avoid, and I will mute you.
There you go.
I will mute you. Yeah.
Get muted.
Yeah.
All right. Following that up, we have Grantles with $6.90. Just says, hey, everyone. Also nice.
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 Hell yeah.
Duncan Metcalf with $5 says, Steve, who's your favorite Mortal Kombat guest character? Robocop. 100%. Because I will say this, and I didn't understand it fully as a kid, but now I think it reflects well on me as a person. But one of my favorite things in the original Robocop movie, trigger warning real quick, I'm going to talk about sexual assault for like 2 seconds, is there is a scene in which two guys are trying to sexually assault a woman. And one guy sees Robocop and he's smart and he books it. The other guy grabs the woman, holds her by the neck, pulls his gun on Robocop, and Robocop, without hesitating, shoots that fucker right in the dick. Like right through the
best
dick.
part about it is that the dress is covering it.
Yeah.
So he thinks he's protected. The dress is like splayed out in front.
Yep.
And
he shoots
just shoots through the dress.
Through the dress right into the dude's groin. And I remember when they announced Robocop for Mortal Kombat, I was like, he better shoot someone in the dick in this game. And sure enough, they like added onto it to give it some Mortal Kombat flavor. So one of his fatalities, he like has a wrist mounted like grenade launcher, and he shoots a grenade, and you'd think he's just going to blow the guy up, but it hits him in the face and it like flips over their head, and he waits and he shoots him through the dick to hit the grenade and blows them up.
God.
The best fatality in Mortal Kombat history. So
I still think with all the horror icons they've put into Mortal Kombat, they are missing an opportunity to not just having a horror game.
Oh, absolutely.
A horror movie like beat 'em like fighting
Seriously.
game.
Right?
That'd be so good.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see like Leatherhead and Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger, like all the ones they've had, like face off against each other. I'm surprised they haven't done it.
It's so funny. When you think Leatherhead, I just think the
rights might be a little tricky because I don't think Freddy and Jason were in the same game. They are separate games.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You're right. I think it was I meant to say Leatherface, but I said Leatherhead. Clearly, I'm
Leatherface. That's right. Okay.
I think you mixed it up with Pinhead.
Yeah, Pinhead too.
Right.
That would. Oh man,
Pinhead would be a wild one.
I would love to see that. Anyway, beyond that, thank you so much for letting me ramble about or Robocop and super chatting, whatever. All my words are jumbled. Grantles with $2 says, how do you delete a super chat? LOL. Nice. I'm just gonna say that again for you, Grantles. Nice. Gold Pac-Man is back with another $5. Says, remember the emoji movie was a thing. We never thought Patrick Stewart would play a poop emoji. Why? Oh my God. Why?
I didn't know he did.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it was Patrick Stewart who played the poop emoji. But the funny thing is, I do have a bit of trivia for it. The original person they approached to voice the poop emoji was who's the one directing like Nope and
Jordan Peele?
Jordan Peele. They asked him, and he was so insulted by it. It's like, no, I'm out.
Nice.
That's why that was a big push for him to start directing.
Nice.
That's so. I didn't know those two were connected. That's so interesting.
That's super funny. I love that Patrick Stewart was just like, I'm taking that money.
Yeah. Hey,
exactly.
I mean, to be fair, if somebody wanted me to play poop in a movie, I'd do it.
By the way, this is a pure aside really quick, but this just reminded me of the fact that I watched half of the Lego movie on my flight back on Wednesday, and I only had to stop because the flight ended. But it was really good, and I never
the Lego movie is delightful.
Wait, you never saw it before?
I never saw it.
No
it just
kids.
didn't seem like I care
it's
about
so
it.
Good.
It's
It
really
was
good.
really great too.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish it hopefully this weekend. I loved it.
Yeah, it's legit
I recommend
good.
that Lego Batman and the sequel.
Yeah, okay. All three are good. Okay, good to know. Then I'll
It's a
just watch
legit
them all.
good movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, our final super chat of the show, and then we have one other special request. Comes from Vedran with $5. Says, "What's your favorite Mascot platformer? Also, happy Friday, and hope you're doing well." Happy Friday to you too. I hope you're doing well. It's Mario across the board. But,
I put Ratchet and Clank up there as well.
no, I would honestly, I would almost take Mario out of it because I feel like that's unfair. It's
Yeah.
such a layup. I would agree if I'm not counting Mario, which I choose not to. I would go Ratchet and Clank, specifically Rift Apart. I think it's one of the best games I've ever played.
Rift Apart's so good. I mean, I feel like I have to take Mega Man out of it because it's not fair. Like, obviously it's Mega Man. And if it's not Mega Man, it's obviously Sonic for me. Like, so I feel like I have to take those two out. And if I do that, then Klonoa probably.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, Dad Alpha Lion with Sly Cooper in the chat. I like that idea too.
Ooh, Sly Cooper's a good one. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So before we wrap the show, we have one last thing. One of our patrons, Lady Maxillary, asked us to, rather than doing her personalized video response, she requested that we do a do-over from the 100K subathon, saying either thank you or I'll buy it at a high price. And I already forgot how that sounds. So I'm gonna start on the right-hand side of everyone's screen with Derek and work our way back so I can be last.
I love how you didn't start with Ash, who's definitely the best of the voice actors.
I know. He's in the middle. He's got to be like the palate cleanser for everyone.
Yeah, well, I had to listen to these quotes again just to make sure I remember them properly. But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't re-listen. I heard from you guys at the beginning, but now I'm rusty again. I'll buy that at a high price. That's terrible. That is so bad.
Oh, man.
It's okay. I'm not going to do any better. Trust me.
I'm going to hide myself in shame.
All right, here we go. Thank you. And I'll buy it at a high price.
See, look what I'm competing against here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here to make you look better. Don't worry about it. I'm only doing the buy it at a high price. I can't remember the other one. I'll buy it at a high price.
That's good too, man.
I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
see, I suck.
Yeah, that was good.
I tried. Squire in the chat, you bordered on a Seth Rogen laugh.
I feel like I can do that better. I can't even do that right now. I'm off my game.
Nice.
Oh, Jaden, thank you for the kind words, saying Ash truly has voice acting in his blood. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, my friend. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's happening?
Oh, this is
Sploosh.
dangerous. Now we're just gonna keep going forever, just doing different voices.
All right,
do
folks.
voices.
We do have a post show to get to, and we also have lives to get to, I think. I don't remember.
I got a video to finish up for tomorrow.
There we go. All right, so let's get moving. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us this Friday for the one and only 28th episode of GVGCast. We will be back next Friday for episode 29, where we'll probably talk about some weird thing that happened on Twitter. But thank you guys so much for watching. As is customary here, we have to give a huge thank you to our patrons at the producer tier and above. We literally could not do the show without you. If you see your name on screen, then you know I'm talking about you. Thank you guys so much. It means the world to us that you let us talk about games and hang out with our friends each and every Friday. Somehow the executive producer scroll is just going, I love OBS. Anyway, we have to give an extra special thank you to the folks who have already intruded on the screen. Our executive producers and above, they deserve an extra special thank you. And those fine folks include Brandon Bovia, Cutie Caitlin, Fangs, Dan and Twistle, Z Patty, Just Brian, Sky Blue Flames, Eastman23, Adam O'Sullivan, Richard Herrera, Logan Daniel, Christopher Baque, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Critter XD, Kitty Kongfax, Angel Martinez, Vidron Hotik, Joshua Hunter, Benny Yao, Azran127, Black King, Pagrema, Geller, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Kiki Griffin, Lucky Wonderfish, Kyle, Wataniac, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Doug Shomix, Andrew Medeiros, Brady Power, Becca, Rocks the Cat, Killamox, Eddie B, Kit Fisto, Jessica Toad, Denith, Sci-Fi Lullabies, Michael McCaw, Nope, Matthew Wong, Goron Amber, Straight Lace, Justin Matthews, Too Much Spaghetti, Bane 400, Ascaron 809, Reoner, Nathan Steele, Spicy Pandaughter, Raining Clouds, The Game Orb, Dano the Artist, Super Gamer Dude 101, Grantles, Ravelox, my mom. Hi, Mom. Mega Amster, Kane Woolley, Dark Steel 01, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Cystic Warrior 29, DJ Jersic, Dinner Sonic, Derek, Nova the Artist, Colin, Blaystar 25, Mumbling Yeti, Cameron Sharp, Screamo Shaman, Mason Riley, Keel, Willow Pingree, Moon Knight, Ray Clausen, Brendan Hesse, Noah Fitterer, Calvin Atkinson, Ryan's Fault, Brainchild, Pat Pending, Jim Wakelin, Lauren Bond, Longboy Shiggy, Andy Mine P, Ad, Kyle the Monarch, Alpha Lion, Lord Metarex, Kyle Gamer and Barry Rookie, Jay Brox, Salad Dinner, Revolver Axolot.
Nice.
Datboy64, Blaze Collard, Eric, Danielle Crowder, Alex Westover, Cat Evie Person 5, and last but not least, Lady Maxillary. Woo! Woo! I had to power through that. They were on screen like 10 seconds before they were supposed to be. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me as I struggled to breathe. That does it for us for this episode of GVGCast. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We are headed on our way to our Patron exclusive post show where I may or may not be conscious due to some type of lack of oxygen. I can't remember the word anymore. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week. If you're one of our EPs, we'll be back sooner than that for our next EP squad meetup. What is
next weekend?
Is that next weekend?
Yeah,
Right.
next Saturday
Apoxia. Thank you, Becca.
Yes.
I will hope not to die of apoxia in the next 30 seconds. But we will be back next week for episode 29 of GVGcast.
Yes,
Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, good night and good vibes. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.